Okay, so welcome back to video 2 of my short series of what helped me to recover. I would also love to direct you to the episode of the podcast, which is my recovery story, because that dives into all of this in a load more detail. I'll pop the link below. Or it's also on the podcast website, longcovidpodcast.com. So the first thing that really helped me was breathing. So this was something that I discovered completely by accident. I think it was a friend of a friend found an Instagram post and they said, I can help your long COVID by breathing. And I was like, that sounds a bit woo-woo. Really? And I was so desperate at the time that I thought, sure, whatever, have at it. Let's give it a go. And it literally changed my life. Twofold. So what I discovered initially was that my breathing was dysfunctional. Many people have dysfunctional breathing. It's more common in women than men. It's very common in people who talk a lot for their job, or just generally talk a lot. I think I fall into both of those categories. And certain other categories as well. It's very common as a result of something like long COVID. But I think actually my breathing was probably dysfunctional on some level before I got sick, and then the COVID infection and resulting long COVID massively exacerbated that. So fixing that was step number one, making my breathing a lot more functional. That wasn't a quick fix, because nothing with long COVID is a quick fix. It took me time and I had to work on things gradually. And because of long COVID and dysfunctional nervous system and all of these things, I had to work on them slower than a kind of quote unquote regular healthy person would have been able to. And when I pushed too hard, what happens when you push too hard? We all know that to our cost, don't we? So I had to go kind of carefully with that. So fixing the dysfunctional breathing. And then once I'd kind of done that and my breathing was starting to become more functional, it was then using the breath as a tool. So it was when I was crashing, or when I noticed symptoms coming up, or when I started getting super anxious about things. It was learning, which exercises do I do at this point? Is there something I can do to kind of preempt the crash, or to make it less bad? And yes, there is, as it turns out. And which exercises can I use to really calm that nervous system? And at which point should I use which exercises? And this is something that I just learned over time. I had some guidance. I was incredibly curious. I started looking into all of this, doing a much deeper dive into all of this, to the point where I have now trained as a breathing instructor, and I'm actually offering courses to people with long COVID or chronic illness to help them with how breathing can help, because it's such an incredibly powerful tool. It's possibly the most powerful tool that we have, because we all breathe. We all do it, hundreds and hundreds of times a day. And how we do that has such an impact on our bodies. And I think this was something that I found very early on, but it was over time that I really understood and was able to use it to more of its full kind of impact. And I think it's really important to work with someone who understands the nervous system, who understands long COVID, who understands what this sort of illness is like to actually live with, what it feels like when those things happen, what the trauma aspect of it is, the anxiety that we feel because we're unwell, and how that can then make symptoms worse, and just how little we need to do and how gentle we need to go. And these were all things that I learned kind of the hard way. But that is what now means that I have this experience. So the power of the breath is just so incredible. And these are exercises that I still use every single day now. I do a lot more of the more hardcore ones now because I'm well enough to do it. But I still use all of these things every day. And, I'm constantly aware of what my breath is doing. How am I feeling today? Actually, I'm quite stressed today. I can tell that in my breath. Or I'm feeling super relaxed. Today is the day where we're going to do tons. So just using that as a way to kind of check in. So the breath. If you are interested in joining the breathing course, I will drop a link below. I would obviously say it's amazing because I've written it. Vicky and I have worked together to really bring you something that works, and we know it works because we have done it ourselves. So anyway, this is not supposed to be a hard sell, but it has made a huge difference to me. So I'd love to share that. And yeah, I will continue with this mini series and talk to you about the second thing when I have a chance to record it.